everyone, Lynda here, the scrapbooking photographer. Today I'm taking part in 3 different hops. One to do with Whatever the Weather, which is one I host here on YouTube, which has everybody talking about weather in their corner of the world. In New Zealand at the moment it's spring, so I'll be doing a layout about spring. And the second hop is Iron Crafter, hosted by Tara O'Rourke from Peace Love Craft Clubhouse, where we are encouraged to use something from our stash. Now this month the mystery item is tags. I don't have any tags lying around, so I've decided to make a couple. So I've made this one as a bit of a prototype, which will have the title on it. And the third hop is for Mad About Minis. Now at Stampin' Up, they have mini paper pads, or mini paper packs of 6x6 designer series. So these are the in colours, which I thought were particularly spring-like. So that's what I'm going to use today. They're 6x6, so it fits really nicely with the Mad About Minis hop. So the photos I'm going to work with are springtime ones, actually from last September, but the same goes this September. It's actually pouring with rain today, but we have had some beautiful spring days and there's some beautiful pink blossom coming on the neighbour's cherry tree. And my husband has built this bird stand here that we put oranges and honey water out for them, and they come over and make a feast of it all. And I can sit here with my dogs guarding the place and my camera and take photos of the birds as they sit on here with the pink in the background. And these are some of the photos that we've come up with. So I'm going to document these today. They look really cool in big format as well, but I've just printed them in 2x2s for the purposes of this layout. With these designer series papers being 6x6, I can fit 4 evenly on a 12x12 piece of white cardstock. And I'm just arranging them here to get the colours in the right place. And I think I'm going to use 2 oranges. So I'll swap those ones on the right so that the orange goes down to the bottom. And then I can use orange up on the top left also. But I've actually gone away and trimmed 1/2 inch off them so that they're 5.5 by 5.5, and that way I can have that frame around the outside. And then I'll dry fit some of these photos and extra bits to see how it's all going to look. I really wanted it to reflect the fact that I could sit on the chair a wee way away and get this array of beautiful bird photos while I'm sitting there. So that's why I'm doing them on the right hand side as a kind of a semicircle around there. And using the Spotlight on Nature dies from Stampin' Up, I can take 2 of these circle shapes and cut dies in a white and also the orange, which I think is called Peach Pie. And I'll put those together and just tuck them underneath the photo of the camera just to reinforce that idea of the semicircle. So getting out the all-purpose mat, I'm just going to go around the outside with a pink colour. And the ballerina was too light, so I've come back with Pixie from Close to My Heart. I don't have a lot of Stampin' Up inks yet because I don't see the point in getting them when I've got perfectly good ones from Close to My Heart. So that's what I'm using today, is a Pixie one, which is a retired colour from Close to My Heart. Well, I guess they're all retired now, aren't they, because Close to My Heart has gone. Anyway, so once I've gone round the outside there, I can put these 4 pieces of paper down again, leaving that nice pinkness around the outside, which is going to blend really nicely with the blossoms on the background. So I'll pop the 4 pieces of designer paper down first, and it's pretty easy to get them even with them all being square. And then I can stick the photo to the mount and add that on the side. And then I'll bring in the 2 circles, and I want them to go over the centre square really. It will cover that cross where all the papers meet, and it also gives that semicircle effect for the photos to fan out from on the right hand side. So sticking those down, and then I will bring in the title. Now the spring word I have cut on my Cricut machine with the offset and the two colours from Stampin' Up, which are Summer Splash is the green and then Pretty in Pink. The Pretty in Pink does work the best with the Pixie from Close to My Heart, so that's what I'm using here to just go around the outside of the tag. I do have a Summer Splash ink from Stampin' Up, so I'll use that on another tag shortly. I'll also use the solid colours of the in colours of Pretty in Pink and Summer Splash to make some little mounts for the 2x2 photos. And I've popped them on the opposite side, so we've got Summer Splash on the designer paper down the bottom, which is the peach pie, and then up the top I'm using the Pretty in Pink on the designer paper, which is Summer Splash. So just mixing it up a little bit and then arranging the birds on those mounts. And there's only one, I think, which is looking to the right, so he's gone on the inside, so he's got somewhere to look, and the rest are all looking into the page. So once I've stuck them all on, I'd like to just link the circles in the middle with the photos on the outside. So I've cut some little strips of vellum just out of some scraps I had in my stash, and I'm going to stick them underneath the circle in the middle and also underneath the bird on the side. So it just provides a little bit of a subtle line to them, and I've got some little gems that I'll put on the end there to bring a bit more colour in towards the end of the video. So I can go around the outside and lift up each end and stick down when I know that it's long enough. There's only a couple that I need to trim shorter. So I think that just gives us a continuing look at the designer paper underneath these little strips of vellum. While I do that, I'll just remind you that this is a hop or 3 hops, so there will be descriptions of who's taking part in each hop underneath, so do have a look, and there'll be playlists as well to make it easy to watch all the videos to do with each hop and get loads of inspiration from different people using tags from their stash for the Iron Crafter Challenge and for whatever the weather, seeing what the weather's like around the world and how it's affecting everybody. And also, of course, how to use the mini paper pads, which is also worth having a look at what other people do with their smaller pieces of paper. So now we've got all those birds stuck in, we're going to get the small alphabet stamp out and just do a couple of words underneath the spring on the tag. So I just want to say there, in September, and I'm going to use the Summer Splash ink from Stampin' Up. Now it's a very wet ink when you first get it, so opening it is something to keep your fingers away from, and then also when you use the stamps on the ink, it pays to check that you've got nothing on the block around the outside, because they do seem to be quite wet when you first open them. So I've done the in, and then I'll just do September underneath. And again, just checking where it's leaked on in the wrong place. And then I'll try and line it up in 3 different sections. And this one, the B, I think just misses a little bit on the top. So I'll over ink that when I come back with the last BER. Just like when we opened the stamp pad, we had to be careful of the ink. It's the same with closing it. So it works a little bit like a drawer, pulling it out and then closing it down. I'm sure once I've done it a few times, I'll get into good practice of it, but it's just a little bit different to what I'm used to at this stage. So now I can stick down the big word spring onto the tag. Then I'm going to bring a little bit of a ribbon in, obviously, to the hole on the edge. Now I have 2 of the in colour ribbons, funnily enough, Petunia Pop and Summer Splash. So Petunia Pop is a darker colour pink, so on this occasion I'll use the Summer Splash, which matches the green to the right of this, and also the ink we've just used and the cardstock for the offset part of the title. So I'll stick that down there and trim those ribbons off and stick them down to the page as well, so they don't fly away. I'll then make another tag to go down the bottom for my journaling. So I know that the mount is 4.5 inches wide, so I've cut a piece of white cardstock that width and trimmed it to fill in that gap down the bottom and line up with the birds. So using the grid on the glass mat, I'm just marking the centre point at the top and also on each side the same distance down, so that I can use my scissors and trim those corners off and have it nice and even. And then use the Summer Splash ink again to go around the outside. Now you can see how much more bleed there is from this ink pad on here than there was on the one that we've already used. So again, pulling the drawer out, closing it down, and putting a little hole in the centre with my punch tool, and I'll pop that down the bottom nice and straight there, and use a little piece of the darker pink petunia pop ribbon here, because that will help it to stand out against the lighter pink underneath. I really do like all these in colours. They are so bright and springy, and I like the way that we can coordinate all the different ribbons with the designer papers, the inks, and the plain cardstock as well. So I can stick this tag down the bottom, and I'll go off camera to do my journaling, which basically just says what I said at the beginning of the video, that I can sit here and take the photos while the birds are in front of the cherry tree. And then I can add some little flowers from this pack from Stampin' Up. It's an embellishment pack that comes primarily for card making, but what I'm doing is going through and just picking out some flowers that are the right colour tones to go with this page. So there's a couple of lighter pink cherry blossom ones and a couple of dark pink ones, and also one orange one. I'll just arrange those. I'm not particularly good at arranging embellishments, but I do try. I know that it's nice to have 3 sets around the page, so I'll try and do that and then stick them down. Of course, this page may also end up with a companion page to the right, so I'll be able to add a couple more sets of embellishments there. Once these are all stuck down, I can then turn to these dots that come in the in colour colours, and I'm just choosing 3 colours. I'm actually using the Petunia Pop, the Summer Splash, and the Pretty in Pink. There doesn't seem to be an orange one. I think the dots are a bit too yellow, so I'm just sticking with the other 3 colours and combining them in different ways on the different strips, and I think it just adds a little bit to the vellum, bringing those colours in on top as well. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully you'll get to see everybody else's creations as well and get some inspiration for your own crafting projects. We'd love to see what you come up with, so do feel free to share on all the Facebook pages that are in the description below. If you'd like to take a screenshot of this layout and try it yourself, you're more than welcome. And please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate all the support from everybody who already has subscribed. That's about it for this page. So thank you again for joining me, and happy crafting, everyone.